Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the LPot community.
Okay.
We're really going to be focusing on their work on loneliness and how to cope with those feelings of loneliness and isolation.
Right.
And they lay out these like 5 kind of surprising truths about loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got their material right here, so we're going to go through it together.
Yeah, I think what really stood out to me is their commitment to supporting people.
Yeah.
They really emphasize that, loneliness, it's not a personal failing.
Yeah.
It's a common human experience that we can all understand and address.
Okay, so that's a good starting point, right?
Right.
You're not judging yourself for feeling lonely.
Right.
You're trying to figure out how to cope with it.
Exactly. And their first truth really gets at that.
Okay.
They say that loneliness isn't just about being physically alone.
Yeah.
It's about feeling disconnected. It's that internal experience of isolation,
Okay.
which can happen even when you're in a crowded room.
Oh, so you could be surrounded by people
Yeah.
and still feel lonely.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the distinction they really want people to understand.
Got it.
It's not about the number of people around you, but the quality of your connections.
The quality of the connection.
Yeah.
Okay, so their second truth builds on that idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about how loneliness can affect our thinking.
Right. They point out that loneliness can actually distort our perceptions,
Really?
lead to negative thought pattern, and even like a skewed view of ourselves and our relationship.
It's almost like when you're feeling lonely, even small setbacks can feel huge.
Exactly. And what the LPot community does is help people recognize those thought patterns
Okay?
so that they can challenge those negative spirals.
Okay, so they're giving people tools
Yeah,
to deal with this.
exactly. Practical tools.
Yeah, what else do they highlight?
Well, their third truth tackles social media.
Okay.
They say that while social media can connect us,
Right.
it can also make loneliness worse.
That makes sense. We've all seen that like highlight reel effect, right?
Exactly.
Where everyone else's life seems perfect.
Yeah, and LPOT encourages people to be mindful of their social media use.
Mm-hmm.
They suggest taking breaks from scrolling and prioritizing real-world interactions.
So put down the phone and have an actual conversation.
Exactly.
Good advice.
Now, their fourth truth is something I think a lot of people can relate to.
Okay.
They say that staying busy doesn't actually cure loneliness.
Wait, so just filling up my schedule won't help?
It's a common misconception.
I thought keeping myself occupied would help me avoid feeling lonely.
Right, but LPOT argues that true connection requires intentionality,
Okay.
not just activity.
So it's not about how many things you're doing, but how you're doing them.
Exactly. It's about being present and engaged in meaningful ways.
Can you give an example of what that might look like?
Sure, think about it this way. Intentionality could be as simple as choosing to have a genuine conversation with a friend
Mm-hmm.
instead of just scrolling through your phone while you're with them.
Oh, okay.
It's about making a conscious effort to connect.
Quality over quantity when it comes to connections.
Exactly, and that leads us to what I think is the most fascinating truth from the LPOT community.
Okay, lay it on me.
They believe that the key to overcoming loneliness is to connect with yourself first.
Connect with yourself. What does that even mean?
It's about building a strong foundation of self-acceptance and self-love.
Okay.
They believe that if you don't enjoy your own company, no amount of external validation will truly fill that void.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a powerful idea, right?
It is.
And in the next part, we'll delve deeper into what that looks like and how to actually connect with yourself.
I'm definitely intrigued. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back with more from the LPot community. Okay, so we're back, and we were talking about this idea of connecting with yourself
Right.
to combat loneliness, and I'm really curious to hear more about what that actually looks like.
Yeah, so the LPOT community, they offer some practical tips for this.
Okay,
They suggest, spending time doing activities you actually enjoy,
okay.
whether it's reading or painting, hiking, anything that brings you joy.
So it's like rediscovering those things you love.
Exactly. It's about reconnecting with those things that make you feel alive.
Right.
And they also emphasize self-compassion.
Okay, what do they mean by that?
It's about being kind to yourself, treating yourself with the same understanding that you would offer a friend,
Mm-hmm.
recognizing that you're worthy of love and care, starting with yourself.
Yeah, it's easy to be hard on ourselves.
Right.
Maybe that's part of the problem.
Another key aspect is embracing solitude,
Okay.
not as something to be feared, but as an opportunity for reflection and growth.
So it's about getting comfortable with your own company.
Precisely. The LPOT community really emphasizes that solitude can be incredibly valuable
Yes.
when it comes to combating loneliness.
So reframing alone time as a positive experience.
Exactly. A chance to recharge and reconnect with your inner self.
Okay, so we've gone through these 5 truths about loneliness from the LPot community.
Mm-hmm.
And They really challenge a lot of the assumptions I think we have about what loneliness is and what it isn't.
Right? It's not about being a loner or a social butterfly.
Exactly.
It's about understanding the root
Yeah.
causes and taking proactive steps to address them.
And what I appreciate is that they focus on empowerment.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
not just telling you to feel bad about feeling lonely. They're giving you tools.
Exactly. They want to equip people
Yeah.
with the tools and resources they need
Yeah.
to navigate loneliness effectively.
And their whole approach is built on this foundation of support
Yes.
and understanding. They're not judging people for feeling lonely. They're offering a path forward.
And their overarching message is incredibly hopeful.
Yeah, I like that.
They want people to know that loneliness is a chapter,
Yeah.
not your whole story.
That's reassuring.
Right. So just because you're feeling lonely now doesn't define you,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the power to change it.
So it's not just about accepting loneliness.
Right.
It's about taking steps to overcome it.
Exactly. And they offer some practical advice on how to do that.
Okay. What kind of advice?
Well, for example, they encourage people to reach out to others, maybe
Yeah.
rebuild neglected relationships
Yeah.
or join new communities where they can connect with like-minded individuals.
Their own community is a great example of that, right?
Absolutely, they're walking the walk,
Yeah.
not just talking the talk.
And they also encourage people to explore their passions.
Yes, revisit hobbies they might have abandoned or try something completely new.
It's about finding those activities that spark joy.
Exactly, make you feel truly alive.
So it's about being proactive and intentional about building connections,
That's exactly right.
both with yourself and with others.
And they also remind us to prioritize self-care,
Okay.
being kind to ourselves, practicing self-compassion,
Right.
nurturing our well-being.
So it's a holistic approach,
It is.
addressing both the internal and external factors that contribute to loneliness.
Precisely. And they're not just saying don't be lonely,
Yeah.
they're providing concrete steps
Yeah.
people can take to cultivate a more connected and fulfilling life.
It's like they're saying, we understand what you're going through and we're here to help.
Exactly. And that's what makes the LPot community so valuable.
Yeah.
They're not just offering information.
Mm.
They're offering support, empathy, and a sense of hope.
Yeah, it's really inspiring to see a community that's so dedicated to this,
Mhm.
to helping people overcome loneliness. They really are walking the walk.
Yeah, and they leave us with a final thought-provoking question
Okay.
that I think sums up their whole message.
I'm intrigued.
They ask, what small step can you take today
Okay.
to nurture a connection either with yourself or with someone else?
That's a good question. It's a call to action, but not an overwhelming one.
Right.
It's about those small but consistent efforts
Exactly.
that make a difference over time.
It could be something as simple as sending a text to a friend you haven't spoken to in a while,
Right.
or signing up for that dance class you've been thinking about,
Yeah.
or just taking a few minutes to practice gratitude.
It's about making connection a priority
Yes.
in our inner world and, how we interact with others.
Absolutely. And that's what the LPot community is all about.
Mm.
Creating a culture where loneliness is met with understanding, support, and practical solutions.
Not just telling people to get over it,
Right.
but giving them a roadmap.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty motivated to put some of this stuff into practice.
Me too.
It's a good reminder that we have more power than we think when it comes to loneliness.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of exploring the LPot community. They
Mhm.
offer a message of hope and empowerment,
Mm.
reminding us that we're not alone in this journey and that there are concrete steps
Yeah.
that we can take to create a more connected and fulfilling life.
So to all our listeners out there, if you're struggling with loneliness, you're not alone.
Right?
And if you're looking for support and guidance, check out the LPot community.
Absolutely. They have a ton of resources,
Mm.
a supportive community, and a real commitment to helping people
Yeah.
navigate this complex issue of loneliness.
And remember, no matter where you are on your journey,
Mm-hmm.
you have the power to make a change. Start with one small step today
Exactly.
and watch those connections start to blossom.
That's right.
That's it for our deep dive into the LPot community and their perspective on loneliness.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.